Hey, this is Nate from Brokey.com, and I'm here at the Huntington Beach Ultimate Training Center with Mike Dolce. How's it going, Mike?
It's good, Nate. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. Now, you just got back from Boston where you're training at City Tong for your upcoming fight, August 15th, against Roman Mitichyan at Called Out MMA. How'd your training for that go?
Training was excellent. I can honestly say this was my best training camp for any fight in my entire career. It's amazing what they're doing out there in Boston. Mark Delagrati is, everybody knows who he is. I'm sure you're watching this, you know who Mark is. And words can't do justice. You know, you got to get out there, you got to check him out, you got to train down at that gym. It's amazing. I can't, in the 3 short weeks I was there, I'm a totally different fighter at this point. So.
Now, you mentioned that normally when you're training for a fight, you're at the same time teaching other people. This time, you were there for yourself.
Yeah.
How much of an improvement do you think that's going to show when it comes to fight time?
I think that's huge. You know, my whole career, I'm a strength coach and a nutritionist, and I've been fortunate to be extremely busy working with some of the sport's top athletes, which is great, you know, business-wise, financially, but at the same time, I'm also a professional fighter, and I realized recently that it's been hurting my career. You know, I'm not focused 100% on myself. Fighters, we have to be a little bit selfish, and I'm very selfless. You know, I give everything I can to all my clients, all my athletes, all my students, and that's been taken away, you know, from all the wins, you know, that I should have in my column. So me getting out there, I spoke with Mark back at the Strike Force where I was working with Dwayne Ludwig for that fight, and Mark's there with George Gurgel, and I talked to him a little bit, and he's like, man, he's like, come down, he's like, just be an athlete. He's like, come down to the gym, he's like, I'll take care of everything, you know, and, you know, give yourself a chance to get in there. Mark, you know, he's always been complimentary towards me, you know, even since I was, you know, I'm nobody now, but, you know, back when nobody knew me, I wasn't on TV, you know, Mark came up to me at a UFC, he's like, Mike Dolce, he's like, man, I love to watch you fight, and I was like, oh my God, like, Mark, like, how do you even know who I am? And from that day forward, you know, he's always been awesome. And he kind of pulled me aside and told me, you know, let's focus on the fighting for now. You know, I'm a young guy still. I got a couple years, you know, a couple good solid years to make my career happen. So, you know, that's what we did in the 3 weeks out there, man. It turned everything around.
Good, that's good to hear. So you're in the process of cutting weight and being a nutritionist.
Yeah.
You're doing it, I guess, a healthy way, right? You're not gonna be there on fight day dehydrated, and then it's not really going to come and affect you when it comes fight time. What is it that you do different compared to a lot of fighters who don't do it correctly, and then when they get in the ring, they pay for it?
Well, being a nutritionist, I have for a very long time. I've developed over the years what everybody calls the DOLCE Diet. It became, you know, very famous through the work I've done with all the top level fighters. So really, every time I fight, you know, I say I'm fortunate. I'm my own petri dish. Or I'm a professional athlete at, you know, a very high level, and I'm cutting weight. You know, I walk around, I'm bigger than Thiago Alves. I mean, he's an awesome fighter, but I walk around, you know, over 200 pounds easily in great shape. I fight at 170 pounds. And it's a battle getting down there, but I do it through nutrition, and my style of nutrition is for longevity. So all the principles I use are based on extending my life and my utility, and, you know, being 100 years old, 120 years old, and still being fresh and active, not, you know, 60, 70 years old in a wheelchair with blown out knees and heart issues and things like that. So I call it longevity nutrition, and what that does, it allows us to perform at a very high level as we are right now, you know, 20, 30-year-old guys, where other coaches and nutritionists and athletes, they use what's called performance nutrition, where it's just about the goal. There's, you know, the short-term finish line right there, and they have no concept of what's going to happen when you're 50, 60, 70, 80, God forbid. You know, most of those guys, unfortunately, they don't live that long. So with me and my concepts, it's all about healthy first, and the healthier you are, the better you're going to perform today, tomorrow, you know, and the next, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, however long it's going to be. So I could go on and on about this. I love this stuff.
And you've actually helped a lot of fighters such as Quentin Jackson, Mike Bisping, Ed Herman, just to name a couple guys, prepare for their fights. And people don't understand that it's not just for fighters. Anybody could, you know, partake in the DOLCE Diet. They could actually go to your website, MikeDolceMMA.com, and they could actually sign up to start the process.
Absolutely.
What is it do you think about the DOLCE Diet that particularly makes it work for a lot of people, not just for fighters?
What is it? It's very common sense nutrition. You know, I understand that people have lives, they have families, they have jobs, they have stresses, they have vices that they need. They need a piece of chocolate, and they need a pastry. Like me, I'm an Italian. You know, I love pastries, I love pasta, things like that. I actually build that into my programs. But the recipes that I come up with, again, being Italian, I've been in the kitchen my whole life. I grew up, my father in the kitchen cooking, my mother, my whole family. You know, we all cook. So my whole life, I've been able to understand the relationship between flavors, but as a nutritionist, I understand what each ingredient has, and there's nothing in my meals that doesn't add something to the longevity, to your health. There's no filler in there. Everything has a health purpose first, but I choose the best flavor and the mix. So, I mean, you ask Quentin, he loves my food, not because it's healthy. I mean, he loves the taste of it, you know, and he's a very, very, very picky eater, and probably the worst. I've had hundreds of clients, and, you know, not including fighters, but just regular people. He's the worst by far, and if I can make that man happy just with the flavor, you know, that says everything. So, you know, I've worked with people in their 80s, you know, and they follow a very similar plan to what Quentin does, or I do, or Bisping, or any of the top fighters. It's all the same principles. The recipes are the same. It's really just the ratio is a little bit different. It's based on your goals, your needs, your background, and things like that.
All right,
simple.
It's good. Now, I've actually put on some pound. I'm actually sucking in my stomach right now.
Uh-oh.
There you go. That's what it really looks like.
Okay.
If I were to stick to the DOLCE diet,
yeah.
But how long to get this off?
Every single day you'll notice a difference.
Really?
Absolutely. Not just physically, cosmetically, the way you look, but you'll notice in the way you feel. You wake up, you'll have great energy, you have a great night of sleep, and that your head, your mind will be clear, your vision will get better, your skin will get tighter, any blemishes, pimples, things like that start to, you know, go away. And it's not magic, it's natural, it's science. All we do is we give the body what it needs to be healthy, and to exude that health, where there's so many external toxins and negative influences that we're constantly bombarded with. Nutrition is the best way to counteract that and defend against that. So once you get on the diet, it's amazing what happens. And I'm not trying to sell the diet, you know, my diet anyway. Of course you can buy it, but it's just for people to, like, use common sense. When you sit down to eat, when you go to the grocery store, is this going to make me healthy, or is this going to make me unhealthy? It's a very, very, very simple question, and we all know the answer to everything we put in our bodies. Just making healthy choices, but every day you'll see differences, and I like to work in 3-week cycles. Okay. So every 3 weeks you'll be amazed at how different you look. Like, this will be gone. You'll have little saggy skin, which is normal, because as the fat cells shrink, the skin kind of hangs. It's called viscoelasticity, where the skin takes longer to snap back than the actual fat cells do to shrink down. So if you see saggy skin, that's a great sign. It means you're making progress. A lot of people get depressed. Oh my God, I can't believe how fat I look, even worse right now. You're just going through that little hurdle to get to the next phase, you know. So there's little things like that, but you let me know. I'm happy to work for you. You do little testimonials on your website.
Yeah, I know. Seems like I have to get on it. Meanwhile, it's gonna go back to sucking it in for the video.